let's see if I can help you simplify this very wordy problem. So in this problem, I shared with you an example. It's talking about the average or the mean high temperature of a month. So I took the average high temperatures for Phoenix and I just made them up. So it tells us that the cycle occurs every 12 months where you hit the average high. So that means right here it takes us 12 months before we cycle again with the next average high temperature for the year. Remember, this is an average high for the month. And it tells us that the midpoint, or in between those 12 months, in the middle of it, that we will hit the average low temperature. So directly in the middle, we'll hit the average low temperature. And it asks us to find the A value or the amplitude. So let's just review what amplitude is. So amplitude is, this is a normal sine curve, and we can see we're working at the sine curve. So we have a hill followed by a valley. And in a sine curve, the distance from the highest point to the midline or the lowest point up to the midline is referred to as amplitude. Now, another way to do this is if it's not centered at the x-axis, what you can do is you can take the high temperature and the low temperature, and that's what we're going to do up here, the high temperature and the low temperature, and you can figure out what is the difference of those. Now, once you figure out that difference or that distance from the high to the low, you can divide it by 2. So here's an example. This is at +3, this is at -3. So that's a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I figure out what is the distance from the high to the low, and then I divide it by 2. That means this is a distance of 3, and this is also a distance of 3. The amplitude is 3. In this particular problem, as I just stated, every 12 months it cycles again back to the average or mean high temperature for a month, so every 12 months, and in the middle of that 12-month cycle, it hits the low point. So the difference between the highest point and the lowest point is a difference of 26. That's what it says right here. The difference between the mean high and the mean low of a month is 26. So this entire thing is 26.1, just like I gave you an example of 6. And if we divide that number by 2, we'll figure out what is the amplitude. So 26.2 divided by 2 would be your A value, and we can find that in option A.